Hey, it's Jamie here from runningrestaurants.com. Everyone knows that for restaurants, large costs can pop up fast. Having convenient and fast finance solutions is what restaurants need, and that's why I want to tell you about Zinch. Zinch is a direct lender that makes financing fast and simple. Just fill out a quick online application and provide a copy of your four most recent bank statements, and you can get approval within 24 hours. Right now, Zinch is waiving application fees for my listeners. That's a $250 value. So go to financingnetworks.com. That's financingnetworks.com. Loans made or arranged pursuant to a California finance lender's law license. All right, folks, welcome to the runningrestaurants.com podcast, where we bring you the tips, tools, and techniques you need to make your restaurant more profitable and successful. I'm your host, Jamie Oikel, and today we've got a great episode for you with Dave Fink, CEO and co-founder at Posty. Welcome, Dave. Let's start with what you guys do, and then we'll dig in from there. What you got?
Oh, what do we do? In the way we like to think about things in the most, kind of broad way is we help businesses take control of their growth and more effectively source customers and build value from the customers they've worked so hard to acquire. We do that specifically solely focusing on how to leverage the direct mail marketing channel. So actual physical mail through the U.S. Postal Service and reaching people in their households through their mailboxes. The reason that this is what we've been dedicating our focus on the last 6 years has been that we grew up in the digital era and an age of internet marketing and the ability to build direct relationships with prospects and customers and understand how to target those customers and capture insights from that direct relationship. There were a lot of amazing things. We all kind of rode the coattails of Facebook and YouTube and Google. And fast forward, like anything, those became the 10,000 pound gorillas controlling the ad ecosystem, became really expensive, very competitive, hard to solely rely on digital for your growth. And when it became time to think about how do we apply 20 years, really almost 2.5 years or 2.5 decades of quantitative, predictable, controlled growth strategies in the digital world, and how do we go beyond that to diversify our marketing stack again, but not give up on all those amazing things like targeting and use of data and measurement, insights, testing, optimization. We fell back into direct mail, which allows for all of those components and attributes. There just wasn't really a technology layer. And so Posty brings that technology layer to get those the direct mail channel to behave like our favorite digital channels, making it possible to apply what we've worked so hard on over the last couple of decades to our omni-channel marketing.
Yeah, well, there was a quote that I guess we'll go right there because you're kind of feeding right into it on your site that I like, that I definitely wanted to bring up. And it pretty much says direct mail is the best kept secret in marketing. I kind of thought that was funny because obviously it has moved away from being a primary method. Whereas if we were to reset 20 years ago, it was definitely and I echo that because I thought for a second when I read that, I said, well, when's the last darn time I got a postcard from a restaurant in the mail, which is what we talk about. So tell me, what do you think?
I think you're spot on. When I think back to 1999, 2000, when I made my foray into my first tech job, which was at a marketing technology company, many of the smartest executives in that company and just in the industry on the buy side and the sell side came from direct mail, direct response. It was kind of the original channel that could leverage data for prediction. You could measure. There were very smart quantitative marketers doing A/B testing on creative and offers and segmentation. It was just a really kind of analog executional process. Sea of vendors, many employees necessary to do everything from sourcing paper and print to procuring data and building models and then running measurement off of spreadsheets and all the campaign management off of PowerPoint and literally like white scratch paper. and the internet came along and showed us that technology could accelerate the sophistication and the ability to test and learn. And there were ad servers like DoubleClick and Atlas that came on the scene, and that gave way to programmatic like the Trade Desk and DV360 and DataZoo, and just the acceleration of capabilities and the results that you could capture leveraging technology and all these direct response tactics that originally started in direct mail. I think motivated us as marketers to go deeper into digital, and we were okay with moving away from some of these more analog traditional channels because the efficiency wasn't there. It was hard. It was not as tech enabled. We didn't have the same level of insights and speed to optimize and prediction. But when you look at all of those kind of capabilities, they really do fall into three different buckets in how digital and programmatic and search and social have armed us with becoming better marketers, savvier marketers, and that's it's the targeting, it's automated execution, and it's clean measurement. And when you put those three things together, there aren't that many offline channels that you can apply all three of them to, but direct mail is one of them. And so for us, it was really a question of, hey, it's not possible to keep scaling Facebook and do so profitably, or social profitably. It's, search is as competitive as anything. We can do a great job at a certain level of scale, but eventually you hit a ceiling. And so when we looked, offline and back to direct mail, it really was this little secret, right? 20 years down the road, most people had never, marketers who were in positions of power and authority had never played with direct mail. It just had been so many years since it was a dominant channel. But when you look at the kind of the size and scale of the channel, even though it may be used by fewer advertisers at scale right now, still a $50 billion a year space sector here in the US alone. It is, it is incredibly powerful. It never went away. It just became, that companies that were built in a digital era did not think to go to direct mail first and didn't have that skill set. And so for me, the idea of it being, a kind of a hidden little secret is absolutely true. It really is all about being able to engage your addressable audiences with the right message at the right time, the right frequency, and all of a sudden now with some innovation in kind of the tools to make it execute more similarly to how you sit in front of an email server or an ad server, programmatic platform, brings it back to life.
Yeah, I was writing down some notes there. I want to go to targeting for a second, and then I kind of want to go to like a use case for a restaurant. Like you can walk through an example of how it could work for whether it's a local indie or could be a small franchise, whatever you want to go to. But that so you can do them separately. You can kind of attack either one you want. But I was thinking targeting and use case. Take it where you want.
Sure. Well, when you think about targeting, there are two core components to it. One is how do you know who you want to target? And we're in an age where there's more knowledge at the advertiser or brand level on and insights into who your best customers are than ever before. Right? Mm-hmm. There are there are CRMs and CDPs and POSs and every acronym you can think about that's helping you capture data, and that's liquid gold. Right, back in the pre-digital age, if you had a good hostess, right, or good host or a good set of servers, you had them engaging with your customers and building rapport and asking questions and kind of understanding them anecdotally. Well, all that data is available by using some technology that most companies are getting savvy about. So when you start with having all this data and understanding who your customers are, who your prospects are, that gives you a tremendous amount of advantage. So then it becomes a question of, well, what are the marketing strategies and channels that you can leverage to find more customers or prospects that look like your best customers? What are the channels that can help you reactivate your CRM, your existing customers that maybe are not thinking about you and your brand as frequently as you wish they would? and that takes addressability. So on the targeting side, it really is a matter of saying, hey, let's capture all these insights, make sure that we have the ability to capture as much data as possible and understand who our customers are, understand their behaviors, and then let's bring that data and activate that, whether it's building lookalikes on Facebook or building lookalikes in direct mail, whether that's running remarketing campaigns through your email or through a digital retargeting company, or whether that's running the same strategies through direct mail, whether that's reactivating and staying in touch with your customer base through email and SMS or an app, or whether that's doing so through their mailbox and speaking to them through direct mail. All those use cases are available in addressable channels, and we're used to them in digital. And that's where we spent most of our time. But let's not forget that there are other channels out there that can let us leverage the insights we're capturing on our own first party data or knowledge on our customers and activate those through media channels.
Do me a favor and just define lookalike audiences a little bit more. Folks have either heard it, very familiar with it, or not familiar with that term. How do you describe it, kind of straightforward?
Yeah, it's one of those rare, I think, marketing terms. We like to complicate things and create amazing, names and terms and acronyms and sound very smart. But lookalikes is just that. It's the idea of taking a segment of your customer base that you've identified as high value. So it could be high average order value customers, or it could be high frequent diners, could be customers that have engaged in a loyalty or VIP program, and you're identifying, kind of putting some boundaries around that portion of your CRM and saying these are really valuable customers. How do I go out and market to more people that look just like these customers, hence lookalikes? And if the digital platforms, but Posty as well for direct mail, allows you to take those audiences, integrate them with an ads platform. That ads platform has all sorts of data and insights on the general US population, and can find similarities between that CRM segment that you've identified as your best customer and those individuals in the US that look most similar to those customers.
Right. Okay.
And so now you have an audience that you feel confident. Doesn't necessarily mean that they will convert, but it does mean that hey, it's probably worth spending time and marketing budget trying to engage these individuals, because when you do get them to convert, they should behave, the data suggests they'll behave more similarly to the customers that you're using as a training set for that target.
Yeah. The other word that I want to come back to, and I do want to go back to examples in a second, but reactivate. So to me, a restaurant, that's a very powerful thing. Customers been in, man, I feel like they've been here every once or twice a month for so long, but haven't seen them. Reactivating someone to come back is a big deal and a big opportunity. And I think about that quite a bit. What about how do you guys do it for, in this case, restaurants? How is it a date? Obviously, you can get into as much specifics or as you want, but at the end of the day, you're finding out who they are, realizing they haven't been in, reactivating through a postcard that's landing in their their mailbox with an offer. Talk more about it.
Sure. Well, look, every business is slightly different, but there are a series of different marketing strategies that you can leverage to accomplish different goals. And so I think you need to kind of look inside introspectively first and say, who are our customers? What type of restaurant are we? Why do diners choose to eat with us, or why are they staying away? And then are there different reasons? Meaning that not every diner is there for the same reason. And you may be a restaurant that has a segment that comes because you have a specialty dish. You may be an ethnic restaurant, and there's a segment that comes because it flavors of their home, right? They remember reminds them of where they kind of their background. you could be a place that's higher end and caters to celebrations, birthdays, anniversaries, etc. Once you kind of understand, why, your diners, your customers are engaging with you, that's I think a really important and good place to start. Then you can start asking yourself questions like, in each of these segments, what's an ideal frequency?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe there's a segment of customer that you think should be coming back, twice a month or weekly. It should just be, more ritualistic. There might be a segment that it's a once a year, twice a year special, experience for them. If you can, gain insights into those different segments and start thinking about, what are the data points that you have? What are the knowledge points that you have to help those customers form habits? Then you can start mapping that to specific use cases. And I'll give you, I mean, we could be here for hours talking about lots of different use cases, but
Sure.
a couple examples, I think in restaurants in particular, if you're somewhere in, where there's a segment of your audience or your customer base that it's about special occasions, well, if you're capturing, when they dine, what we call anniversary campaigns are really powerful. So every year, the month leading up to that
Yeah.
last time they dined, that probably, a good guess that it was for a birthday or for an anniversary or for a holiday or some celebration. And so why not remind them that, and help them start thinking about, your restaurant's part of their experience, their ritual. If it's a customer segment that lives, within a mile and you're one of the convenient locations for them, how do you, maybe that's a segment you need to think about, turning a ritual, those habits into a monthly dining habit or multiple times a month dining habit. Once you kind of, understand what the game plan is, what your goal is, then you can start thinking about, should you be leveraging offers? Should you be using more content and informative newsletters, but staying away from offers, introducing seasonal fare or new menu items or look, the scarcity works well as well.
Mm-hmm.
So when there's a seasonal option, that the fact that's available for limited time can help motivate someone to activate, to actual pick up the phone, make a reservation, go onto your website, etc. So the tactics go on and on, but one thing I can tell you, that we see with from literally tens of thousands of reactivation campaigns is that you got, if you're trying to reactivate someone or you're trying to change their behavior, get them to build habit, change the frequency with which they engage with you, you have to cut through the noise and you have to fight to get some of their time. And the digital ads serve a place, high frequency, low cost, like that's great. But the flick of a thumb and you're past a newsfeed ad, right? Like that. It is rough out there on digital and mobile ads. But a direct mail piece is something that feels very personal. There's certainly I think less clutter out there at this point. It's a bit of a higher price point to reach each individual through mail, but the impact and the conversion rate greatly offsets that cost, making it an ROI positive channel. And I think the number one factor is that a well thought out, well designed, personalized experience, that reaches someone in their own home, like that's hard to replace that.
Yeah, it's funny as you were talking there. The one thing that hit my mind in our world is I have a high school senior and a high school sophomore, and colleges have not lost the idea of hitting you in the mailbox, and it's been fascinating to get so much mail incoming for our two students, and it is a lot more powerful because we know these colleges exist, but you need to go find them and to wade through that sea. And it's the same thing with restaurants. We know you exist, but how do you remind me? And when you send a beautiful brochure or postcard with a call to action and a headline and things like this, man, it really does jar it. And all, I don't have anything sitting here other than a thing from my Subaru. It's a nice postcard, but
There you
things
go.
like this, I mean, they just they cut through, they pause you. And we actually find it interesting to go to the mailbox these days. For the long time, it was just you hated it, but now it's like, what actually is in my mailbox, and you pay attention to it.
Yeah, if you couple thoughts there. So one, um, there's this idea of intent-based marketing, which Google's cornered the market on, right? If I'm in market for something, I'm gonna end up on Google. I'll probably end up on Amazon, and I'm gonna do searching. I'm gonna look for product reviews. I'm gonna look for content. I'll end up on YouTube if it's a category, a passion category, a hobby of the day, and spend lots of times watching videos and review videos and whatnot. But most brands don't have the luxury of growing just from intent, waiting for someone to come and seek you out. You have to go and invest in demand gen. And that's what those colleges are doing, right? They have a captivated audience for a very specific, probably 6-month period with which they can acquire an application from that student. And if they're not out actively leveraging data, targeting the right households with the right prospect incoming student, with differentiated, content, speaking probably to different buckets of students, right? The student athlete versus the prospect engineering student versus the prospect comp lit student, et cetera.
Right.
Then they're going to have a smaller bucket of students to choose from that potentially dilutes the quality of the workforce that they're putting out, which in turn cyclically affects, the type of students that are interested in that university. All businesses no different, right? In a restaurant, it's like if you work hard to have people show up on a Wednesday at 7 p.m. and the restaurant's half empty, like that's really bad, right? Like someone comes in and then immediately, at least I know with me, the first thing that I think is like, this restaurant probably isn't very good if it's half empty, right? And so,
That's right.
That's constant pressure to generate demand. That's why, you and I talked before we got on air about, I spent a lot of time in LA, and Hollywood's mastered the red velvet ropes, and the old game would be when I was 22-year-old and trying to figure out how to get into the fancy clubs, you had to go early. There'd be a line around the corner at this club, and then you'd finally get in, and it would be half empty because they just wanted that line out in front of the club to make it seem like they were the hot club. And then maybe by like midnight, it was packed. It just puts a ton of pressure on us as marketers or business owners. One of the I think the beauties of direct mail is there was a time when it was a less expensive channel, and there was a whole bunch of probably non-targeted, non-quality, designed ads that were coming at you. But those days are long over. Part of it's just, the cost of executing direct mail has gone up. And you would think that would be a deterrent. But if you take a step back, what that's doing is that's forcing us as marketers to be more invested in the design, the targeting, the messaging, the segmentation, the way we're talking, uniquely to different consumer or prospect segments. And so putting out quality content is always a winning strategy. Doesn't mean everything, individually, every touch point is going to be perfect, but that investment is always a winning strategy, just like investing in the decor and the theme of your restaurant is, and location returns its value. So does an investment in the content. The other thing that I learned very early on, after launching Posty, is that the unique value of a well-designed direct mail ad is that it lives in your home, oftentimes for as many as 6 or 8 weeks. And I saw this. Actually, it wasn't a restaurant; it was a meal delivery company. When I first started exploring this idea with my co-founder, I watched my wife. She's she's a general consumer. She's not a marketer, so she's not always I'm always suspicious, and the way I interact with advertising is very different than I think the average consumer. And I saw a postcard that she had saved from a meal delivery, a fully prepped meal company, And that postcard sat on our kitchen table for probably 3 weeks.
Right.
And I'm like, what in the world is going on here? And then it ended up on like with a magnet on the refrigerator for a couple of weeks. And then like 5 weeks later, I got a text saying, oh, hey, there's going to be a delivery today. I tried this new meal delivery service. Yeah, the meals need to go in the refrigerator. When they get there, please put them in the refrigerator. If I get home before she does. And I just watched it. It was an expensive order. She probably spent like $500 on, this initial month of meal deliveries. And that direct mail ad probably got 1,000 impressions every time we walked in, back and forth in the kitchen. How many fingerprints were on it from picking it up and being like, wait, what is this again? And that we don't get from a digital ad, that we don't get from a search ad, right? We search, we hit a search engine results page. Maybe we click through on a link, maybe we don't. Certainly, we might watch a YouTube video one time. We might, see the same ad 4 or 5 times as we're scrolling through on an Instagram ad or TikTok feed or whatnot. But to have a media channel that actually can reach the right people and have a long shelf life that eventually results in a meaningful conversion means that we have a shot to not just drive that conversion, but chances are that customer really is a high quality customer once they do convert, because it's taken them some time and they've ruminated over that purchase decision.
Yeah, the consideration factor. Yeah, I don't save many digital ads that I come across on the internet. I don't hit save and put them somewhere and go relook at them later. But let's do this, because there literally is a lot more to talk about. So I want to bring you back a couple months in the future and talk. I wrote down some stuff to follow up on: strategy stuff, design, messaging. There's so much more to talk about. So I want to bring you back and do that. In the meantime, I want you send folks to the website, to your social. Where can they find out more about you guys? What you got?
Yeah, I mean, look, we work hard in publishing great content on our website, lots of case studies, use cases, information. And that's postie.com, postie.com. It's honestly the best way to engage with us and see if you think that we might be worth engaging with, and then if so, we make it really easy to request a conversation with our team right there.
Yeah, I think I saw a book on there too. Is like a download? Is that something folks can grab? Yeah,
there are some ebooks. There's a restaurant vertical specific ebook. I think it's I should know this. I'm so embarrassed at this point.
Well, you send me the link. We can put a link in the notes, that sort of thing. So we'll be sure to do that.
Absolutely. I think it's like this 7 tactics that all restaurant marketers should consider. And you'll see we put a lot of time and energy into our own storytelling, content research, and hopefully we can help you expand the way you're thinking about putting butts in seats, I guess, as they say.
Yeah, in the restaurants, that's what it's about: getting folks in, getting them back. So appreciate it, Dave. Good stuff, folks. That was Dave Fink of Postie. You can find them on the web at postie.com. For more great restaurant marketing and service and people and tech tips, stay tuned to us here at runningrestaurants.com. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks for having me.